Gold has just reached another record price, and that feels oddly out of place. This is 2025. Artificial intelligence is advancing at breakneck speed. Quantum computing is no longer theoretical. Humanity is seriously discussing settlements on Mars. Yet the asset exploding in value is the same metallic rock we've pulled from the ground for 5,000 years. Something about that contradiction should make you pause. What's even more telling is who's buying it. Central banks across the globe, China, Russia, India, Brazil, are accumulating gold at levels not seen since the 1960s. For the first time in over 100 years, their combined reserves now contain more gold than US dollars. That detail matters. People don't rush into gold because it suddenly became more useful. They turn to gold when confidence starts eroding. So the real question isn't why gold is rising, it's what trust is being lost. What's shifting underneath the system? And why is this conversation happening now? Gold is everywhere in the headlines. Analysts keep repeating the same phrase, all-time high again. But here's the thing. Governments didn't start buying gold last week. They've been quietly doing it for years. And when something finally dominates the news cycle, it usually means the smart money moved long ago. While attention stays locked on gold, another asset is being accumulated even faster. One that very few people are paying attention to yet. Before going there, it's important to rewind to March 1st, 2022. On that day, something subtle but historic happened. During the Ukraine conflict, the US and its allies froze roughly $300 billion of Russia's foreign reserves. Just like that, inaccessible. This sent a shockwave through every government watching, because the message was clear: if it can happen to them, it can happen to anyone. When trust begins to fracture, humans revert to an ancient instinct. They reach for gold. Many assume gold is money or a timeless store of value. A better way to see it is insurance, protection against institutional failure. Gold isn't purchased during calm, prosperous periods. It's accumulated when systems feel unstable, when currencies weaken, when governments wobble, when belief starts to fade. That's exactly what's happening now. Over the last 3 years, central bank gold purchases have reached their highest annual levels since the mid-20th century. China, India, Russia, all accelerating accumulation. And collectively, BRICS nations now hold more gold than dollars. That's not a coincidence. It's a quiet vote of no confidence in the current monetary order. For 80 years, the US dollar has sat at the center of global finance. So why is faith cracking now? 3 forces are colliding at the same time. First, debt. The United States now owes over $38 trillion, more than its entire economic output. There is no realistic path to repayment, and the pace of borrowing isn't slowing. Second, competition. For the first time in generations, the dollar faces real alternatives. China's industrial capacity is massive. BRICS countries are experimenting with new payment systems designed to bypass dollar settlement altogether. Dependence on a single currency is no longer viewed as safe. Third, money creation. During the COVID years, nearly 40% of all dollars in existence were printed in a very short window. When monopolies over money weaken, participants hedge. Gold buying is exactly that. Protection against a system you're forced to rely on, but no longer fully trust. Before continuing, a quick pause. If you're passionate about storytelling, visuals, and creating meaningful content, we're currently looking for editors and designers. Details are below. Now, let's step back and ask a basic question. What is money? Most people would point to a piece of paper and say, "That's money." But why? What makes billions of humans collectively agree that ink on paper has value? The answer is belief. Inside a prison, cigarettes can become currency if everyone agrees. Inside a nation, paper functions as money if the network accepts it. Money itself isn't the object, it's the shared trust behind it. Historically, that trust was local. Villages used shells or metals because everyone nearby accepted them. Step outside the village and they became worthless. Over time, trust scaled through institutions. Kings, governments, central banks. They declared what money was, enforced its use, and punished dissent. And it worked, because institutions held more power than individuals. Until they didn't. India's 2016 demonetization proved how fragile institutional trust can be. Overnight, legally printed notes became invalid because the state said so. The paper didn't change, belief did. Institutional trust functions beautifully when leadership is competent and disciplined. But when deficits are covered by printing, banks are repeatedly rescued, and access to money becomes a political weapon, people start looking for exits. That's where we are today. So yes, gold accumulation makes sense, but consider the drawbacks. Gold must be physically stored. It requires vaults, guards, insurance. Moving it demands ships, planes, armored transport. Verifying it requires experts and testing. It's an analog asset in a digital world. And there's a bigger issue. Governments can seize it. They always have. In 1933, the US outlawed private gold ownership during a banking crisis. Citizens were forced to surrender it. In India, the 1968 Gold Control Act restricted ownership during a foreign exchange crunch. Even ancient texts like the Arthashastra advised rulers to confiscate gold during fiscal emergencies. Physical assets can be found, and what can be found can be taken. Some might argue they don't own physical gold, just gold ETFs. That's worse. ETFs are promises, not possession. In the exact crisis gold is meant to protect against, those promises are among the first things to break. If you distrust institutions, holding insurance through institutions defeats the purpose. Gold addresses currency distrust. It does not solve government distrust. In a true crisis, those two become inseparable. Now here's where it gets interesting. While nations and individuals accumulate gold, the largest asset manager on Earth is moving in a different direction. BlackRock, managing assets worth multiple times India's GDP, began buying another asset quietly. In just over a year, their holdings of it surpassed their gold exposure. Not tech stocks, not silver, Bitcoin. This is the same institution that once dismissed it entirely. Now it's among the largest holders. These aren't speculators. They manage pensions and sovereign wealth. They don't gamble. So why the shift? Look at gold's weaknesses and imagine fixing them. Where do you store wealth without trusting a third party? At home isn't practical. Banks introduce seizure risk. What you'd want is an asset you control directly, without vaults or intermediaries, immune to institutional failure. That's Bitcoin. Think of it as a digital vault secured by a phrase only you know. 12 words. Memorize them, and you can carry vast value across borders in your mind. Without that key, no one can access it. Many assume Bitcoin lives on exchanges. That's a misunderstanding. Exchanges are custodians, like banks. The power of Bitcoin is self-custody. Now consider supply. Gold feels scarce, but technology constantly expands access. Satellites locate deposits, machines dig deeper, extraction improves. Over decades, the usable gold supply grows about 2% annually, doubling roughly every 35 years. Bitcoin is different. There will never be more than 21 million. Nearly all already exist. The remaining fraction is released slowly until issuance stops entirely around 2014. Fixed supply, direct control, instant transfer, resistant to seizure. In that sense, Bitcoin functions like digital gold, but optimized for a connected world. Is it guaranteed? No. No one knows. And that uncertainty is exactly where this channel lives. We're not here to give instructions. We're here to explore transitions before they become obvious. History shows these moments are rare. Empires shift. Systems reset. Those positioned for the old order suffer. Britain after World War II. The pound collapsed. Assets underperformed for decades. The Nixon shock of 1971. Those who understood bought gold early. Everyone else watched purchasing power erode. Lebanon in 2019. Bank accounts frozen. Savings trapped. Wealth destroyed. The pattern is consistent. When systems transition, wealth stuck inside them suffers. Your assets today are tied to jurisdictions, laws, and currencies. If the system prospers, you prosper. If it shifts, you're locked in. For centuries, gold was the answer. But technology never stops evolving. Bitcoin may be the next iteration, or it may not. But the fact that the world's most conservative institutions are positioning tells you something is changing. And moments like this don't happen often.